then pomp and circumstance, national anthem.
On my first drive into Ames, I distinctly remember being in awe at how beautiful everything was, the scale, the magnitude of everything around me.
When I first came on my campus visit, I realized that Iowa State had so much potential.
I think I was leaving from my campus tour and I was telling my parents, like, I'm ready to sign now, ready to accept and be a Cyclone.
So I already had a master's degree overseas in Bangladesh. So I was looking for something that will give me the experience and knowledge that I didn't get from my previous degree.
Growing up, I think my future was always going to be football. Anything related to football, really. I grew up watching it. I grew up playing it. My dad was actually a pro in, the NFL. So just growing up watching him play really made me want to play the game a little bit more and get to that same level that he was.
I was super excited for my first day of classes at Iowa State. I remember putting on the best outfit I could think of and walking into class and sitting in the first couple of rows.
I think it was easy to make friends at Iowa State. Everyone's super open, everyone's super nice, willing to have conversations and getting to learn about you, getting to know you.
I would say one of my greatest achievements here at Iowa State is representing Iowa State in quiz competitions. So it was the experience of solving real-world business problems, and I was fortunate to have that experience before I graduated.
I joined my sorority a bit later in my college experience, but it was one of the best decisions I made. We have a ton of fun when we're together. We are always laughing, tears coming down our face. It is a very fun experience.
Getting to be able to work at the new, bigger veterinary diagnostic laboratory has been great.
Juggling sports and school is always going to be hard, but I think Iowa State does a really good job of handling that with our academic program on the third floor of the Stark Performance Center.
I studied abroad in Limerick, Ireland at the University of Limerick. Being able to have that study abroad opportunity was as amazing as I thought it was going to be, multiplied by 500. That was definitely not something that I thought was going to be possible for 20-year-old Anna to do.
I loved my experience with the President's Leadership class. Going to the Knoll every Tuesday and meeting President Winterstein and Robert, and you're surrounded by 28 other students who are just amazing in their own ways. I think President Winterstein's dedication to Iowa State has been tremendous through the 4 decades that she's been here and being the first female president. And as she approaches retirement, I think she's just made such an impact on the community here at Iowa State.
One of the things that I like the most about Ames in general is downtown Ames. I went to a bunch of farmers markets on Saturdays. Me and a bunch of my roommates still try to do that to this day. The people of Ames definitely love Iowa State, and Iowa State definitely loves the people of Ames.
When I first started coming to Jack Trice, I wasn't sure what to expect, but very quickly I fell in love with it. I got to see Brock Purdy play, and now he's in the NFL doing great things, and then I got to watch Rocco come and play.
I think one of my favorite moments here at Iowa State has got to be when we played K-State last year, and it was 4 degrees outside, and everybody was here to get our 11th win of the season, which is a school record. And to see everybody that came out and showed out in 4-degree weather was something special.
The most important thing that I've learned at Iowa State is to become comfortable with the uncomfortable. whether that means saying hello to someone next to you at your lecture, or going to a new club meeting where you don't know anybody. And that can really help expand your circle and can lead to a lot more opportunities that you might not have had if you didn't go with that first step or didn't take that first leap.
I am most proud of the person that I've become. I have gained so much confidence being here.
Before I came, I was very shy and timid, and I didn't like to speak up much. But now I am a lot more confident, and I will raise my hand in class, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
I kind of walked in not really having an idea of how I was going to walk out, but I'm really proud of how that turned out and where I am today.
Primarily, I would like to thank my sister for inspiring me to be an engineer, and even getting it in my head in the first place that it was something I could do. And I would like to thank both my parents and both my biological and my Cyclone families for supporting that dream ever since.
I would like to thank my parents for this opportunity, especially being a first-generation college student. It has meant a lot to me to be able to pursue a higher education.
I would like to thank my family, my friends, the faculty, my advisors, my professors, my tutors.
I'd also like to thank my parents for the opportunity and the encouragement to come here to Iowa State, as well as all my friends who have had to deal with me these past 4 years, especially my girlfriend, Tori.
I would like to thank my parents for my time here at Iowa State. They heavily encouraged me to come here, and little did I know it'd be the best decision I ever made.
I think there's a lot of people that I'd like to thank, and I think the closest people to me are probably my roommates and my family. I thank those people a lot because they've been through a lot for me.
So I would like to take this opportunity to thank my parents and also all of my faculties and classmates. They were really supportive and helpful. And lastly, thank you, Iowa State University.
I'll miss the little things. I'll miss the campus. I'll miss the beauty. And I'll miss being here.
I will miss how beautiful Iowa State's campus is the most. I love walking through the big trees and looking at all the architecture, but I'm really gonna miss that.
From day one, I felt the energy, the belief, and the pride that comes with wearing that cardinal and gold.
I didn't know what I would find when I stepped foot here, and what I found was community, people who I'm proud to call my friends, passion and direction for a major, and a sense of belonging, my home away from home.
Iowa State taught me not only the knowledge and skills I'll carry into my career, but also how to lead, collaborate, and adapt with confidence.
As I prepare to leave Ames, I know I'm not just saying goodbye to a university, I'm saying goodbye to a community that helped shape me into the person I am today.
Ames gave me memories I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. No matter where the future takes me, I'll always be a proud Cyclone.
Looking back now, I can confidently tell my 18-year-old self that there is no other school I could have chosen that would have been better for me, and there is no other school that present-day me is prouder to officially call myself an alumni of.
They always say home is where the heart is. So now, when I say I'm going home, just know I'm going to Ames.
Good evening. Iowa State University is pleased and honored to welcome the family and friends of our graduates to the Fall 2025 Graduate College Commencement Ceremony here in Hilton Coliseum. Today's commencement ceremony recognizes recent graduates in Iowa State University's proud 167-year history of academic achievement, excellence, and service. The processional will begin with the presentation of the college banner by the Graduate College's Student Marshal, who will be accompanied by the Dean and the student's university escort. The posting of the college banner will be followed by the processional of candidates for master's degrees, followed by candidates for doctoral degrees and the presenting professors. Members of the assembly may remain seated during the processional. At this time, it is our privilege to present to you Christina Meyer, Student Marshal for the Graduate College. Christina is accompanied by Dr. Jody McGill and by Interim Dean Dr. Heather Greenley. It is our privilege to present to you the candidates for graduation from the Graduate College at Iowa State University. Signaling the official beginning of our graduate college commencement ceremony, the University Mace, carried by Chief Faculty Marshal Dr. Robert Wallace, precedes the President. We ask the candidates for graduation and the members of the Assembly to please rise as you are able for the procession of the members of the Iowa State University academic community, led by President Dr. Wendy Winterstein. Iowa State University is very pleased to introduce Austin Rewer as the Fall 2025 Graduate College Commencement Student Vocalist. Mr. Rewer will sing our national anthem.
Please join me in singing our national anthem.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Graduates, family, and friends, I am pleased to introduce Dr. Wendy Winterstein, President of Iowa State University.
Good evening. I'm very pleased to welcome you to Iowa State University's Fall Graduate College Commencement Ceremony. At this time, I would like to introduce the members of the platform party. I ask that they please stand and remain standing until all introductions are made. Dr. Deepali Sashatal, Roy J. Carver, Professor of Biochemistry, Biophysics, and Molecular Biology, Suresh Faculty Fellow and Commencement Speaker. Dr. Jason Keith, Senior Vice President and Provost. Regent Nancy Dunkel, Iowa Board of Regents. Dr. Toya Younger, Senior Vice President for Student Affairs. Dr. Sean Reeder, Senior Vice President for Operations and Finance. Dr. Peter Dorhout, Vice President for Research. Dr. Dawn Bratz-Prince, Associate Provost for Faculty. Dr. Megan Gillette, Teaching Professor of Human Development and Family Studies and Faculty Senate President. Mr. Terry Tobin, Chair of the Iowa State University Foundation Board of Directors. Dr. Robert Wallace, Associate Professor of Ecology, Evolution, and Organismal Biology and Chief Faculty Marshal. Dr. Heather Greenlee, Interim Dean of the Graduate College. Mr. Luis Rico Gutierrez, Dean of the College of Design. Dr. Laura Jolly, Dean and Dean's Chair of the College of Health and Human Sciences. Dr. Daniel Robeson, Endowed Dean's Chair of the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. Dr. Samuel Easterling, James L. and Catherine S. Melsa, Endowed Dean of the College of Engineering. Dr. Benjamin Withers, Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. Dr. Raj Agnihotra, David and Ellen Raisbeck, Endowed Dean of the Debbie and Jerry Ivy College of Business. Dr. Jody McGill, Associate Dean of Research and graduate students in the College of Veterinary Medicine. Ms. Hilary Zao, Colonel Gary G. Swinson, PhD, Endowed Dean of Library Services. Dr. Jennifer Sukon, University Registrar, and the faculty marshals for today's commencement ceremony. Please join me in recognizing them. Thank you. You may be seated. On behalf of our university leaders, faculty, and staff, we are delighted to honor and celebrate our newest graduates of Iowa State University. Commencement is the most important and significant ceremony that a university holds. For our graduates, it represents the culmination of years of hard work, focused study, perseverance, and personal growth. For family and friends, it is a time to share in the success of their graduate and to be recognized for the wonderful support and care they have provided through the years. And for Iowa State University, it represents the successful completion of our most important responsibility to society, preparing the next generation of scholars, innovators, and leaders. Graduates, tonight you join the very special group of people who hold advanced degrees from this renowned institution. No matter where you go in the world, you are now a part of the legacy of excellence at Iowa State University. We look forward to what your future holds. We know you will continue to make us proud. Congratulations to all of you. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce the keynote speaker for tonight's graduate commencement ceremony. Dr. Deepali Sashatal is the Roy J. Carver Professor of Biochemistry, Biophysics, and Molecular Biology, and Suresh Faculty Fellow at Iowa State University. Dr. Sachetal's research investigates the molecular mechanisms by which CRISPR-Cas immune systems recognize and responds to invading genetic elements. Her group combines structural, biochemical, and molecular biology approaches to recover how these systems operate in their native contexts and how they can be used safely and effectively for biotechnology applications. In addition to advancing fundamental understanding of RNA-mediated immunity, her work contributes to the broader application of CRISPR in agriculture and human health. Dr. Sachetal also helped establish state-of-the-art cryo-electron microscopy facilities at Iowa State University, strengthening structural biology research and fostering collaboration across departments. She is deeply committed to graduate education and mentoring, emphasizing creativity, rigor, and scientific curiosity. Dr. Sachetal holds bachelor's degrees in chemistry and biochemistry from the University of Michigan and a PhD in biochemistry from the University of Wisconsin at Madison. She completed postdoctoral research at the University of California, Berkeley, and the Scripps Research Institute. Her contributions have been recognized with the Presidential Early Career Award for Scientists and Engineers, the U.S. government's highest honor for early career researchers, as well as the Camille Dreyfus Teacher Scholar Award and the Margaret Ellen White Graduate Faculty Award. Please welcome Dr. Deepali Sachetal.
Well, thank you, President Winterstein, for such a kind introduction. And I also want to start by thanking President Winterstein for her service to Iowa State and congratulate her on her upcoming retirement. I want to start by extending my heartiest congratulations to the graduating class of 2025. I am truly honored to be here with you, your families, your friends, and your mentors. I've been tasked not only with celebrating your successes, but also with providing you with inspirational words of wisdom as we send you off into the world. But I'm not sure how much inspiration you need to take from me, because this group of graduates is truly inspiring on your own. Although I don't know all 241 graduates who are celebrating today, I have met many of you, and I have been privileged to get to know several of you quite well. So I can personally attest that many of this graduating class are amazing and awesome people. I know that many of the friends and family who are in the audience are here because you have an amazing graduate that you are proud to support today. So what could I possibly say that is more inspiring than just taking a moment to reflect on everything you have accomplished? Let's start by acknowledging one important reality. Grad school is hard. You were tasked with becoming an expert, with reading a huge amount of literature, with analyzing and thinking critically about data and ideas, with communicating and defending those ideas, with teaching and mentoring your fellow students, with working independently and within teams, and ultimately, with generating new knowledge. There were setbacks, there were failures. Sometimes it was difficult to know whether you were on the right track. You invested years of your life and sacrificed nights, weekends, and holidays to your work. Many of you carried an added layer of uncertainty. one that made even simple decisions like visiting your family risk losing all the hard work and progress you had made. All of these challenges required your determination, motivation, perseverance, and most importantly, belief in yourself. And now, here you are. You did it. Your graduation represents the culmination of all the effort you put in and all the progress you have made. It represents your growth as people and as scholars. Grad school was not just school, and you weren't just students. For many of you, grad school has launched your professional career, and your work has already had meaningful impact on your field. You have performed important studies, you have made important discoveries, you have invented new applications and devices, you have made essential contributions to our society. Now, your focus may be shifting to what you can expect next. Let me tell you a brief story from when I was in your shoes. It was nearly 20 years ago, and I was receiving my graduate degree at a commencement ceremony in a basketball stadium at a large Midwestern university. I was brimming with confidence, having just completed a PhD, but I was also apprehensive about how successfully I would translate my newfound expertise to the next phase of my career. And that next phase was daunting. I was leaving the cozy confines of my grad school lab, where I was the go-to senior student, surrounded by lab mates and friends who I had gotten to know extremely well. I was moving to a huge 25-person lab where I would suddenly be back at the bottom of the pecking order. I was also changing the focus of my research, and I was excited, but also nervous, about moving on from the area I had specialized in during grad school. All of this made it feel like I was starting from scratch, even as I was taking a huge step forward. I'm not gonna lie, the first several weeks or even months in my new lab were not easy. Any new job can be intimidating, and I was surrounded by brilliant and very busy people. Even though everyone was welcoming, I also felt that they were on another level than I was. I was filled with questions about how I should start approaching my work, but I was also determined not to waste their time with my most basic questions. In other words, my stupid questions. I set about trying to figure out as much as I could on my own, using the internet and my network of grad school friends, to fill my gaps in knowledge before strategically choosing the smart questions that I could direct at my lab mates. These early days in the lab eventually led me to make an important discovery. Not a scientific discovery, those would come later. Instead, I made a discovery about myself. It turns out that I had leveled up during grad school. It no longer took me weeks or months to learn how to do new things. I could pick up new techniques and concepts faster and understand them better. I was more independent, but I was also becoming more comfortable asking questions and discussing ideas with my lab mates. Although research remained as challenging as ever, I was much better at troubleshooting and overcoming obstacles that would have posed much larger barriers earlier in my career. Over time, I went from being a newbie in the lab to a core lab member. I contributed to important projects and made exciting scientific discoveries. I worked alongside amazing scientists on projects that would eventually lead to the lab winning the Nobel Prize in chemistry. I also began to notice another important shift. Many of my brilliant lab mates started to come to me to ask me their well-thought-out, strategically chosen, smart questions. I tell this story because that brief period of time in my life, shortly after I'd reached what I thought was the culmination of my education, was actually the beginning of sustained and continual learning that continues to this day. Graduate school training is not about building expertise in one area. It is about all the other skills we have to learn because of that one important reality, that grad school is hard. We learn how to fail and how to pick ourselves up again, how to optimize and how to do it better the next time. We learn how to figure things out. We learn how to critically evaluate, to think about all possible explanations and outcomes. We take advantage of our networks of friends, colleagues, and mentors, and we contribute to those networks as much as we benefit from them. And we never stop getting better at doing those things. Those early days of my postgraduate career taught me how to harness everything I had learned in graduate school, lessons that I continue to make use of every day. The world has changed a lot in the last 20 years since I was in your shoes. I hope you are all brimming with a similar confidence in everything you have learned during your time at Iowa State, just as I was back then. You should be. As you move on from Iowa State, take some time to reflect on what you will take with you. You have not only gained knowledge and information, grown your ability to think and overcome obstacles, you have gained networks, friends, colleagues, and mentors, both formal and informal. Stay connected to them. Ask questions. Return the favor and be generous with your time and expertise. Let's end with a corollary to the important reality that grad school is hard. Life can be hard as well. The world will continue to present new challenges to you, but also new opportunities. You are set to enter the next stage of your career in a world that will be shaped by new technologies, a world where critical thinking will be essential to identify the difference between information and disinformation, a world where your chosen field may feel undervalued by society, even if it is of critical importance. Navigating this world will not be easy, but you will do so with the same determination, motivation, perseverance, and most importantly, belief in yourself that you used to complete your graduate education. Be assured, you have already proven yourself equipped to face these challenges. You now have the tools to continue to grow and to overcome them. You have leveled up during your time at Iowa State. Congratulations, class of 2025, and thank you for everything you have already contributed and everything that is still to come.
Thank you for those thoughtful and inspiring words, Dr. Sachatal. At this time, I call upon Senior Vice President and Provost, Dr. Jason Keith, to recognize those students graduating with distinction.
At this time, I would like to recognize the graduate students who are receiving Teaching Excellence Awards and Research Excellence Awards. Students receiving these awards are being recognized for their outstanding teaching or their exceptional research accomplishments in a graduate program, and they are wearing cardinal and gold honor cords. Will those students please rise? I offer you our congratulations. Thank you for your excellent contributions during your graduate program. Please be seated.
Provost Keith, I now call upon you for the conferring of degrees.
We shall now proceed with the conferring of degrees. We will begin with the conferring of the Doctor of Philosophy and the Doctor of Education. The Dean of the Graduate College will ask the doctoral candidates to stand and will present them to the President. After the President formally awards the degrees, the graduates will be seated. A faculty marshal will dismiss students to come to the stage and be recognized. During the hooding ceremony today, the degree recipients will be escorted and hooded by their major professor, who have worked with them throughout their studies for their doctoral degree. The hoods connect the graduate with a family of scholars throughout history from all parts of the world and with this great university. Now, Dr. Heather Greenlee, Interim Dean of the Graduate College, will present the candidates for the doctoral degrees from the Graduate College.
Candidates for doctoral degrees, please rise as you are able. The Graduate College awards two types of doctoral degrees, the Doctor of Philosophy and the Doctor of Education. Doctorates are awarded only to those who have completed an intensive and demanding course of study. For the Doctor of Philosophy, the primary focus is on conducting research that must be original, planned after mastering related human knowledge, and documented in a publicly available dissertation. For the Doctor of Education, the dissertation demonstrates the use of critical inquiry to address a complex problem of practice. Those receiving doctorates today have demonstrated that they are expert in the fields whose research has contributed to human knowledge and is documented in a publicly available dissertation. The hoods they assume symbolize their admission to the exclusive ranks of those who have earned the titles Doctor of Philosophy and Doctor of Education. President Winterstein, these candidates have completed all required courses, demonstrated their ability in research or critical inquiry, and passed all examinations. They are recommended by the graduate faculty and the Faculty Senate and are approved by the Board of Regents of the state of Iowa for doctoral degrees. In recognition of the satisfactory completion of your respective programs in the Graduate College and by the authority delegated to me by the Iowa Board of Regents, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Philosophy or Doctor of Education with its accompanying rights, privileges, and obligations, the diploma now to be placed in your hands, and the hood with which you will be invested shall forever be the testimony of this highest rank. Congratulations.
Doctoral graduates, you may now be seated. The faculty marshals will dismiss you by row to approach the stage. We will begin with Interim Dean Greenlee presenting the Graduate College's Student Marshal to President Winterstein.
President Winterstein, Provost Keith, I am honored to introduce you to our Student Marshal, Christina Meyer. Christina is escorted by Dr. Jody McGill. Christina is graduating with a doctorate in biomedical sciences. This is her third degree from Iowa State University, having previously earned a Bachelor of Science in Psychology and a Master of Science in Biomedical Sciences. Christina's dissertation, Molecular Mechanisms and Therapeutic Strategies in Organophosphate Neurotoxicity, explores how chemical exposure leads to brain inflammation, neurodegeneration, and seizure-related injury, and investigates antioxidant therapies that may lessen these harmful effects. In addition to her stellar academic record, Christina has made significant contributions as a mentor to 15 undergraduate research assistants and served as the president of the College of Veterinary Medicine Graduate Student Association and as a student accreditation ambassador. Her scholarship has been shared through 9 presentations at professional conferences, 14 peer-reviewed articles, including 5 as first author, and she is a co-inventor on a patent application. Please join me in congratulating Christina and all those receiving graduate degrees today.
Charity Naya Njeshi, major in toxicology, presented by Dr. Richard Martin and Dr. Dipali Sashatal.
Suraj Sundara Vasanti, major in biomedical sciences, presented by Dr. Jody McGill.
Brandon Michael Broxius, major in kinesiology, presented by Dr. Elizabeth Stegemoller.
Francis Architwine, major in soil science, presented by Dr. C. Lee Burris.
Crystal Lee Jewell, major in neuroscience, presented by Dr. Elizabeth Stegemoller.
Johnson Godlab Ntama, majors in soil science and environmental science, presented by Dr. C. Lee Burris.
Devin Lee Radosevich, major in etymology, presented by Dr. Aaron Gassman.
Rebecca Alice Wakibula, major in soil science, presented by Dr. C. Lee Burris.
Elliot Merrill Smith, major in etymology, presented by Dr. Aaron Gassman.
William Edward Taylor, major in animal science, presented by Dr. Stephen Lonergan and Dr. Juan Steibel.
Araz Hashra Minizad, major in civil engineering, presented by Dr. Halil Ceylan.
Amamchukwu Bernard Ilogebe, major in material science and engineering, presented by Dr. Peter Collins.
Muhammad Jiban, major in civil engineering, presented by Dr. Halil Ceylan.
Grant Johnson, major in material science and engineering, presented by Dr. Peter Collins.
Daniel Brenya AJ, major in electrical engineering, presented by Dr. Degang Chen.
Utsav Kumar Dey, major in material science and engineering, presented by Dr. Peter Collins.
Michael Sekere, major in electrical engineering, presented by Dr. Degang Chen.
Humphrey Wara Odiambo, major in material science and engineering, presented by Dr. Jun Kui.
Carly Joe Dolgos, major in chemical engineering, presented by Dr. Eric Cochran.
Gage Wayne Harris, major in aerospace engineering, presented by Dr. Ping He.
Haley Marie Sturley, major in immunobiology, presented by Dr. Paola Boggiato.
Scott Becker, major in biochemistry, presented by Dr. C. Lee Burris.
Nirmal Vaishnav, majors in mechanical engineering and computer engineering, presented by Dr. Bhaskar Ganapatha Subramanian.
Ernesto Soto, major in inorganic chemistry, presented by Dr. Kirill Kovnir.
Bella Yang, majors in mechanical engineering and computer engineering, presented by Dr. Bhaskar Ganapatha Subramanian.
Gayatri Vishwanathan, major in inorganic chemistry, presented by Dr. Kirill Kovnir.
Cheng Hao Yang, a major in mechanical engineering, presented by Dr. Bhaskar Ganapatha Subramanian.
Distom Kavalakat Francis, major in computer engineering, presented by Dr. Matt Dar.
Grace Carey, major in microbiology, presented by Dr. Adina Howe.
Raghupati Kandiboina, major in civil engineering, presented by Dr. Christopher Day.
Manish Kumar, major in Materials Science and Engineering, presented by Dr. Sid Pathak.
Ashutosh Kumar Nirla, major in Computer Science, presented by Dr. Saumik Sarkar.
Sky Sukpakul, major in Materials Science and Engineering, presented by Dr. Sid Pathak.
Ibne Farabi Shihab, major in Computer Science, presented by Dr. Saumik Sarkar.
Zoe Elizabeth Kiefer, major in Animal Physiology, presented by Dr. Jason Ross.
Yazan Ibrahim Ali Alatum, major in Civil Engineering, presented by Dr. Omar Smadi.
Jamie Marie Studer, major in Animal Physiology, presented by Dr. Jason Ross.
Zia Uddin Ahmed Zihan, major in Civil Engineering, presented by Dr. Omar Smadi.
Ashley Ann Paulson, major in Genetics and Genomics, presented by Dr. Larry Halverson.
Shubhrato Pal, major in Statistics, presented by Dr. Shomak Datta.
Kristen Helwig, major in Biochemistry, presented by Dr. Ruben Peters.
Atrey Das, major in Condensed Matter Physics, presented by Dr. Paul Canfield and Dr. Raquel Ribeiro.
Ahmed Mohamed Abdulazim Ahmed Raslan, major in Biochemistry, presented by Dr. Ruben Peters.
Ahmed Ali Abbasi, major in Electrical Engineering, presented by Dr. Namrata Vaswani.
Ravenlay Buckman Johnson, major in Analytical Chemistry, presented by Dr. Young Jin Lee.
Shilpa Babu, major in Electrical Engineering, presented by Dr. Namrata Vaswani.
Dong Hyun Ryu, major in Analytical Chemistry, presented by Dr. Young Jin Lee.
Kimia Noruzi, major in Chemical Engineering, presented by Dr. Laura Jarbo.
And Karimi Murithi, major in Genetics and Genomics, presented by Dr. Thomas Luberstedt.
Nakyung Oh, major in Material Science and Engineering, presented by Dr. Dwayne Johnson.
Zhang Qin Ming, major in Electrical Engineering, presented by Dr. Meng Lu.
Swadeep Mandal, major in Astrophysics, presented by Dr. Charles Curtin.
Sage R. Becker, major in Immunobiology, presented by Dr. Crystal Loving.
John Courtney, major in Veterinary Microbiology, presented by Dr. Amanda Kreuter.
Sheng Kai Wei, major in Organic Chemistry, presented by Dr. Levi Stanley.
Nicole Kling, major in Nutritional Science, presented by Dr. Lorraine Lanningham Foster.
Nicole K. Lopez Jantwi, major in Hospitality Management, presented by Dr. Sojung Lee.
Alex Cleveringa, major in Crop Production and Physiology, presented by Dr. Marshall McDaniel.
Tabassum Mahmoud, major in Computer Engineering, presented by Dr. Mei Sheng.
Emmeline Renee Sundman, major in Population Sciences and Animal Health, presented by Dr. Suzanne Millman.
Yu Yong Lee, major in Statistics, presented by Dr. Cindy Yu.
Vaibhava Srivastava, major in Applied Mathematics, presented by Dr. Rana Parshad.
Ekachai Kwanbua, major in Plant Pathology, presented by Dr. Stephen Whitman.
Marcus Narte, major in civil engineering, presented by Dr. Kristina Polyakovsky.
Brianna Danielle Griffin, major in plant biology, presented by Dr. Justin Wally.
Vijita Periasamy, major in electrical engineering, presented by Dr. Manojit Pramanik.
Caillou Luis dos Santos, major in crop production and physiology, presented by Dr. Andrew Van Lock.
Dylan Lee Schultz, major in microbiology, presented by Dr. Stefan Schmidt-Sesser.
Peng Sing Yang, major in biochemistry, presented by Dr. Christopher Tuggle.
Abigail Kep, major in chemical engineering, presented by Dr. Ian Schneider.
Ji-Hoon Lee, major in kinesiology, presented by Dr. Joshua Selsby.
Zanyi Yao, major in chemical engineering, presented by Dr. Zhengyi Xiao.
Claudia Brandy M. Young, major in education, presented by Dr. T.J. Stewart.
Annie Vananji Sweeney, major in human development and family studies, presented by Dr. Amy Zarling.
Kolade Mubarak Arisekola, major in civil engineering, presented by Dr. Leah Moe.
Siddhav Sakalkar, major in civil engineering, presented by Dr. Timothy Ellis.
Isadora Fernanda Machado, major in population sciences and animal health, presented by Dr. Giovanni Trevisan.
Dusty Merlin Inglis, major in agricultural education, presented by Dr. Michael Retalik.
Nick Leiser, major in microbiology, presented by Dr. Chi-Jing Chang.
Jabin Lin, major in electrical engineering, presented by Dr. Shana Mutada.
Jose Fernando Gonzalez Acuna, major in plant pathology, presented by Dr. Darren Mueller.
Sanjeeva Kumar Murli, major in chemical engineering, presented by Dr. Thomas Mansell.
Holly Ann Schmitz, major in kinesiology, presented by Dr. Tim Derrick.
Congratulations to all of our doctoral candidates. We're very proud of you and your educational achievements. Candidates for master's degrees, please rise as you're able. The master's degree is awarded to those who have successfully completed an intensive course of study in a particular discipline. Reflecting the diversity of ways in which advanced knowledge and skills can be obtained, the university awards a variety of master's degrees with specific names and expectations. In many fields, a master's degree represents the highest academic achievement, and degree holders are accorded full recognition as practitioners of its art. The master's degree often involves research and the preparation of a thesis or creative component that demonstrates an ability to conduct original inquiry. All of those that receive their degrees today have demonstrated dedication to learning and to enhancing their abilities to contribute to society. Their degrees demonstrate that they have truly mastered a complex and demanding body of knowledge. President Winterstein, These candidates have completed the requirements prescribed by their respective degree programs. They are recommended by the graduate faculty and the Faculty Senate and are approved by the Board of Regents of the state of Iowa for their master's degrees.
Recognition of the satisfactory completion of your respective programs in the graduate college and by the authority delegated to me by the Iowa Board of Regents, I confer upon you your master's degree with its accompanying rights, privileges, and obligations. The diploma, now to be placed in your hands, shall forever be the testimony of this advanced academic achievement. Congratulations.
Master's graduates, you may now be seated. The faculty marshals will dismiss you to approach the stage by row. Lilia Danielle Whittington, major in apparel, merchandising, and design.
Imtiaz Chowdhury, majors in business administration and accounting.
Anna Patricia Larson, major in education.
Arya Gaurav Agrawal, major in finance.
Safal KC, major in civil engineering.
Yifan Sun, major in civil engineering.
James Edward France, major in aerospace engineering.
Robert Britpat, major in industrial and agricultural technology.
Aaron Mara Ashley, major in aerospace engineering.
Declan Connor Green, major in aerospace engineering.
Kelly Iverson, major in seed technology and business.
Andrew Pestotnik, major in human-computer interaction.
Gabriella Keeney, major in chemistry.
Azhar Ahmed Efat, major in computer science.
Jaren Ordash, major in ecology and evolutionary biology.
Quasi Ishtiaq Mahmood, major in computer science.
Danush Fantakes Personnel, major in computer engineering.
Alyssa Schleich, major in seed technology and business.
Isaiah Reed Riley, major in electrical engineering.
Regan Rummelhart, major in professional practice in dietetics.
Dingiswayo Chikwaza, major in computer engineering.
Michael Todd Peterson, major in engineering management.
Ann Long, major in professional practice in dietetics.
Tim Charles Kaiser, major in mechanical engineering.
Suvarna Darga Donthumseti, major in informational systems.
Isabel Kaufman, major in mechanical engineering.
Rama Devi Gudala, major in electrical engineering.
Rajiv Appasamy Subraj, major in industrial and agricultural technology.
Jen Gedowitz, major in professional practice in dietetics.
Hien Xuan Bui, major in industrial and agricultural technology.
Meredith Birch, major in engineering management.
Carter McCann, major in agricultural and biosystems engineering.
Trisha Diana Veldhuizen, major in animal breeding and genetics.
Joshua Lonin, major in biomedical sciences.
Annika Francesca Parks, major in animal science.
Ellie Kipchumba Kerwa, major in veterinary preventive medicine.
Allison Marie Baumhover, major in animal science.
Nicholas Allen Herrera, major in plant pathology.
Lillian Claire Bombeck, major in animal science.
Daniel Kimte, major in plant pathology.
Benjamin William Verplug, major in business analytics.
Liang Chun Chen, major in plant biology.
Joe Donald Wilson, major in veterinary microbiology.
Justin William Wenzel, major in computer engineering.
Sarah Berenbrook, major in accounting.
Jinmog Han, major in human-computer interaction.
Paige Nicole Cresswell, major in accounting.
Blake Allen Shea, major in civil engineering.
Olivia J. and June Hanlon, major in business analytics.
Rohel Alam, major in artificial intelligence.
Rayanne Brackey, major in industrial engineering.
Tabor Deng Ding, major in agronomy.
Allie Catherine Larson, major in soil science.
Andrea Lauren Carroll, major in agronomy.
Cassie Jo Hushek, major in agricultural education.
Carl Thomas Nicholas, major in agronomy.
Aaron C. Filippilli, major in education.
Matthew Schnabel, major in agronomy.
Taylor Lee Adams, major in agricultural education.
Sarah Asmat Ibrahim, Master of Finance.
Kale Delane Cookland, major in secondary education.
Vikas Ayadavera, major in mechanical engineering.
Nan Hu Ki Tran, major in computer science.
Raf Almutairi, major in interior design.
Tyler Lee Nelson, major in business administration.
Kong Luan Trin, major in electrical engineering.
Dawit Wanwozen Temis, major in finance.
Matthew Hovda, major in aerospace engineering.
Mallory Cadence Mulligan, major in accounting.
Rabsa Nasir, major in veterinary preventive medicine.
Riley J. Jensen, major in accounting.
Umme Nabila Samantha, major in community and regional planning.
Anna Sanders, major in accounting.
Bala Reddy, major in veterinary microbiology.
Lauren Grace Hopkins, major in accounting.
Syed Mujtaba Haid Sherazi, major in artificial intelligence.
Rachel Bertrand, major in accounting.
Edward Frimpong Asamoah, major in civil engineering.
Alex Michael Bunn, major in accounting.
Samson Junior Arku, major in civil engineering.
Lawrence Anthony White, major in education.
Amanda Sampaio, major in civil engineering.
Shalini Mutiala, major in artificial intelligence.
Daniel Andres Salazar Martinez, major in civil engineering.
Howren Wong, major in information systems.
Adam Subora, major in soil science.
Udaya Krishna Karanam, major in informational systems.
Yihong Chen, major in information systems.
Jisun Kim, major in information systems.
Tanmay Lakshmikan Jagtap, major in business analytics.
Stuart Jacob Leland, major in materials science and engineering.
Evan Mitchell Smith, major in information systems.
Ashley Renee Ballard, major in materials science and engineering.
Ryan Dean Nichols, major in information systems.
Abigail Grace Stanlick, major in materials science and engineering.
Eric Upchurch, major in mechanical engineering.
Kellen D. Martin, major in aerospace engineering.
Aurora Jacobson, major in human-computer interaction.
Sung Moon Choi, major in aerospace engineering.
Ethan Coy Buckham, major in human-computer interaction.
Andrea Nicole Bonacci, major in aerospace engineering.
Andrew Schwartz, major in mechanical engineering.
Tabassum Zaman, major in community and regional planning.
Justin Celine, major in mechanical engineering.
Maud Eschen, major in community and regional planning.
Priscilla Junaidi, major in architecture.
Dylan Kaur, major in computer science.
Jessica Swenson, major in mathematics.
Vrinda Sundira Grimarji, major in computer engineering.
Tegan Resiter, major in finance.
Varun Sunidra Kirimanji, major in computer engineering.
Jonathan Leisinger, major in electrical engineering.
Rishikar Chetamula, major in computer engineering.
Erin Bailey Sobotka, major in agricultural and biosystems engineering.
Madeline E. McMahon, major in mechanical engineering.
Olivia Younger C., major in human-computer interaction.
William Agekum Azedu, major in computer engineering.
Andrew McMahon, major in computer engineering.
Mohammed Dengan Manshadi, major in computer science.
Sarah Heather Blank, major in civil engineering.
Colin Abel, major in engineering management.
Angelina Agite, major in sustainable agriculture.
Alexandra Strominger, major in engineering management.
Sadia Tahsin Kadir, major in civil engineering.
Christopher Ziegler, majors in systems engineering and engineering management.
Wendy Yarborle Abbey, major in agricultural and biosystems engineering.
Joseph Robert Brennan, major in computer engineering.
Enoch Kwasi Asante, major in civil engineering.
Dibortho Deb, major in electrical engineering.
Manasi Nair, major in information systems.
Molika Vani Goli, major in artificial intelligence.
Chaitanya Elandula, major in information systems.
Kate Crow, major in political science.
Abhishek Raghuraman, majors in cybersecurity and computer engineering.
Henry Looker, major in cybersecurity.
Ayush Chauhan, major in engineering management.
Ishit Lal Pradhan, major in computer science.
Samuel Abhinav Meruga, major in cybersecurity.
Blessing Manguiro, major in human-computer interaction.
Carol Michelle Lopez Antwi, major in civil engineering.
Mario Lloyd Galvao Wilson, major in healthcare analytics and operations.
Damara Para, major in family and consumer sciences.
Elvis Kamara, major in artificial intelligence.
Asma Saif, major in seed technology and business.
Reagan Subi, major in agricultural education. Rana Tiba, majors in integrated visual arts and human-computer interaction.
My congratulations to all those receiving their master's degree today. We take great pride in your accomplishments.
On behalf of the entire university community, I extend my sincerest congratulations to our graduates. We wish you the very best and look forward to hearing from you about all of your accomplishments. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Mr. Terry Tobin, Chair of the Iowa State University Foundation Board of Directors. He will welcome you as our newest alumni of Iowa State University.
Thank you, President Winterstein. I'm Terry Tobin, a 1979 graduate of the Iowa State University College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. I serve as chair of the board of the Iowa State University Foundation. Masters and doctors, congratulations on reaching this milestone in your academic journey. You are now Cyclones for life and can proudly carry the official title of Iowa State University alumni. For those of you who have already been carrying the alumni title through earning previous degrees here, thanks for choosing Iowa State again. In the television show Ted Lasso, there is a reference made to family you are born with and the family you make along the way. You have all been and will continue to be part of the ISU family. Today, you move from an on-campus family of more than 31,000 students to a global family of more than 296,000 alumni located around the world. Iowa State University is committed to helping you remain well-connected to each other and to other Iowa State alumni and friends, to inspire you through exciting news and updates, and to serve you through engaging programs and services. With our shared experiences, we can work together to elevate Iowa State and Iowa Staters. How might you stay involved with Iowa State? I will share some of my experiences. Since graduation, I have stayed in touch with Iowa State by serving on the Political Science Department's Alumni Advisory Committee, by serving as an ISU governor with the ISU Foundation, and by giving back financially along with my wife, including endowing a study abroad scholarship to support ISU students who wish to study abroad. It feels great to stay involved. Now I'd like to leave you with 3 thoughts. Remember that no matter where life takes you, you will always be a member of this prestigious higher education family. This university and all who work here will always be interested in what you do, how you continue to contribute to society, and what matters most to you. Make Iowa State visible in your daily life. Wear your diploma colors, sport a license plate or a license plate cover, display your diploma, place an ISU decal on your vehicle. These simple acts will encourage connection with other Iowa State Cyclones wherever you go. Stay connected. Come back to campus, take a road trip with your college buddies, or join a local alumni club. If you have a change of address, please let us know so we can keep you in touch with other alumni in your community. On behalf of the entire Iowa State University alumni community, best wishes for your success, health, and happiness. We're excited to support you, help advance your career, and keep you connected to your college, your alma mater, and the Cyclone family. Congratulations again, class of 2025. You are now lifetime members of the Cyclone community.
Thank you, Terry. Now I want to offer my personal congratulations to all of today's graduates. We're extremely proud of all of you and all that you have accomplished. Your Iowa State diploma is the culmination of rigorous coursework, hands-on learning, and life-changing experiences both inside and outside of the classroom. It's a symbol of both the university's excellence and your hard-earned academic achievements. We also want to recognize the hard work of all those individuals who have supported these graduates, the faculty and staff, family members, and many friends. Would our graduates please rise and show your support and appreciation to our audience, your family and friends that are here today to celebrate you. A round of applause. And would you please remain standing as we conclude our commencement ceremony, now with the singing of the Bells of Iowa State by student vocalist Austin Reware. I pronounce the Fall 2025 graduate commencement ceremony at a close. Austin.
Please join me in singing the Bells of Iowa State. The words can be found at the back of your program.